Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to my Saucony Endorphin Elite running shoe review. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ding the bell for notifications. See you on the run. Good morning. It is my first run in the Saucony Endorphin Elite this morning. I did not intend to get a pair of these before Chicago, but with a gift card from one of my races, it certainly cut the price down a whole bunch. I tried them on in the store and they felt pretty amazing, so I figured I would give them a run. I've got a marathon pace run today, about 12 miles altogether. 45 minutes of it is going to be at marathon pace, so that'll be a good 7 miles or almost 7 miles. I'm going to wear the Rabbit short tights, the Speedsters. This is kind of Chicago colors there, as well as my usual lightweight and Gingy no-show socks. But these are going to kind of be the star of the day. Well, actually, this guy's going to kind of be the star of the day. He always is. Yeah, I'm excited to try these out. So I just finished my first run in the Saucony Endorphin Elite, and in one word, wow. These things are the real deal. The marathon pace just came so naturally. I won't say effortlessly because it should be some effort, but maybe it has to do with my fitness and I'm late in the training plan, but these shoes they were keeping up the whole way, and I just felt fast in them, and it was fast. I did 45 minutes at a 6:24 pace. That was after a 4-mile warm-up in 30 minutes, which is about a 7:29 pace. And then the cool down, which was at about 1.5 miles, 1.25 miles, was not really that much slower than the marathon pace. It just, but it felt like a cool down. I was not out of breath the whole way. And these things, they just ran so naturally. After one run, you can tell a little bit of the scuffing in my usual high wear area, and I think that's just because, 4-foot strikers land in that supinated phase. They pronate and then they toe off like that. At least I do. So yeah, these are definitely going in a vault under lock and key with maybe a nuclear passcode, and only being brought out for a couple of key runs before Chicago. But these might be the Chicago shoe. These are giving the Hoka Rocket X2 a run for their money. I might have to do just a one-on-one shoe off between those two shoes. But yeah, stay tuned. More on the review coming. So on the schedule for today, it's a long run day, and I'm going to do a marathon simulator workout, which, if you're not familiar with that, this is the first time I've put it in one of my plans. It is 26.2 kilometers instead of miles at marathon pace or marathon effort. And it's really kind of a dress rehearsal for the marathon. It's 5 weeks from Chicago, so I picked kind of a flat route that I could run back and forth and loops on to try and emulate the course a little bit. And I'm going to be wearing all of my race day gear. It's a dress rehearsal, and just kind of testing out that fitness at 62% of the race distance. This is a staple of the Brooks Hansen team used to do this a lot. I don't know if they still do or not. And Matt Fitzgerald wrote an article in Outside Magazine about it in 2019, about including it in his plans. So I figured I would give it a try. I've been doing a lot of high mileage lately, so this would fit with my high effort. I've pulled back my mileage a little bit this week. I've been doing about 85% of the volume I normally would. So by the end of this run, I'll have about 60 miles or 100 kilometers on the week, which usually I'm up to 72, 75, even as high as 80 miles. So we'll see. My Achilles is barking at me a little bit. I think I've got it under control, but I'm wearing some Stamina Pro on it, and I've been trying to keep everything low intensity. And my legs are still pretty stale. This down mileage week hasn't really been helping me feel all that fresh, so I might start off a little bit conservatively today. Right, Con? Yeah. Thanks, buddy. Your flat layout here, and of course Con is borrowing my sunglasses again. He loves these things. I'll be wearing the Gooder Rat G sunglasses. Also, they match the shoes I'm going to be wearing. Reckless running singlet. This is probably my favorite reckless running singlet, just because I like those pinstripes. I've got some of my fastest race times in that singlet too. I'm going to wear the Rabbit Speedster race shorts. These are the ones I'm planning to wear on race day. I'm going to have Njinji lightweight toe socks, of course. I'm going to carry 6 Martin gels with me. I don't plan on eating 6 Martin gels for this 16.3 mile run, but I am planning on carrying that many on race day, so I'm going to practice carrying that many along with the GoPro in these race shorts. The shoes. So I am in the middle of testing the Saucony Endorphin Elite. We'll see how today's simulator workout goes. I'm liking them enough that I'm wearing them for my dress rehearsal today for my 26.2 kilometer marathon simulator. And Con, I guess, likes them too. Right, buddy? Okay. All right, I'm gonna get ready. So for this simulation, I'm gonna try and emulate things as much as I can on race day. So I'm setting up an aid station that I'm gonna be able to hit every 18 or 20 minutes or so on my loop. Said aid station is gonna have water. It won't be in cups, but I'll be able to drink out of it anyway, and Gatorade, since that's what they're gonna have on the course. All right, it's 7:30, marathon simulator, go. Coming up on 20 minutes, about 5K in, starting to get the gears greased here and settle in. I've just hit 10K in just under 40 minutes, averaging between 6:25 and 6:26. I was targeting 6:27 today, so I'm really gonna try and relax and cruise and not try and bank any time. But the pace is actually feeling easier. These shoes are legit. Just over an hour in, passed through 15K and 59 high. The word of the day is cruise. Don't need to go any faster. Hit the half marathon mark. 13.1 miles, 21.1K, in just under 124, 123.50 something. Still feeling very much in control, but just gonna cruise these last 5+ kilometers because there's no reason to go any faster. All right, that is 16.3 miles, otherwise known as a little over 26.2 kilometers. Which I did in 144 low altogether. And I was shooting for about 145, so that's good. Seemed to me, by the way the average pace was moving around, that it was a negative split, which really was unintentional. I think it was just really a product of me feeling better as the run went on. Those last 5K, I was starting to feel a little bit more of it, so I just focused on relaxing, cruising. Still ended up speeding a little bit. I guess that bodes well on non-tapered legs 5 weeks before race day. So can I do that for another 10 miles? Or less than 10 miles actually. And if I were to roll out of bed and do it today, I don't know, probably not. But on fresh legs, tapered, absolutely. Feeling pretty good for this. So might be talking myself up, but then I have to force myself to live up to it. I'm also talking up these shoes. These bad boys feel like they're in their wheelhouse. They feel like they got a big wheelhouse. I'll talk about it more during my shoe talk.
but very happy about this one today.
All right. It is shoe talk time, and we are talking about the Saucony Endorphin Elite. And boy, do I have a lot to say about this shoe. But before I get into all that, if I wanted to give the TLDR version, it would be summed up in 2 words, and that's holy. Yeah, it's this shoe's pretty amazing, and I don't think I'm being hyperbolic when I use that word. So we'll talk about this shoe in isolation first before I start comparing it with all these other things that I have on the table. As you can tell, it looks pretty weird. The upper looks, I mean, to be quite honest, when I first saw this shoe months ago, the upper looked ridiculous with these, you know, I can see through these holes here. Very light mesh upper that I can see through. This little band here, which reminds me of the Brooks Pure Project shoes, goes through the bottom. You can see it running over the carbon plate there. And I just thought, I mean, it looks kind of silly, right? I mean, I don't think it looks silly now in context, in retrospect. You look at this upper and you're thinking, how does that work? And the best way I can say it is once you put it on your shoe, it just works. You get locked down, it fits well, it's accommodating. This tongue is gusseted so it doesn't move around, even though there's got those big holes there to keep it airy. It just works. The upper works. It hugs the Achilles really softly but snugly. The fit of the forefoot, if you have a narrow forefoot, you might find this roomy. If you have a regular sized foot or maybe even a slightly wider foot, then this would be pretty accommodating for you. The best way I can describe the fit of this is if the Asics Metaspeed Edge Plus or Sky Plus had a 9 3/4 instead of a 9.5 or a 10, because these have a really accommodating forefoot, but I'm kind of between sizes on these. And I was really able to have my toes splay, you know, with my Njinji toe socks in this, but still feel locked in. So that's the fit, that's the upper. No complaints about the laces. They are a little bit elastic, a little bit dynamic, but they stay in place. I didn't feel like anything was coming loose. The midsole is where the magic is. Power Run HG foam, which is it's a PIBA foam, but it's a supercritical PIBA foam. What they've injected it with to make it supercritical, I'm not sure. I don't know if it's nitrogen like the Puma line or a combination of nitrogen and carbon dioxide like the Skechers line. But whatever it is, it certainly changes the properties of the foam from their other PIBA flavors, their other PIBA options. Now, if you look at the shape of the midsole here, it's not really decoupled. It looks decoupled on the lateral side, but it is continuous on the medial side. So for someone like me with a very flexible arch that tends to overpronate, I find that when I'm thinking about it, I can really tell the more stable aspect of it on the medial side, and it feels like even though you're on 40 millimeters of foam, and this is a go fast shoe, it's a race day shoe, I don't feel like I'm losing stability. It feels very stable for as propulsive as it is, and it's very propulsive. The speed roll geometry is it's a very sharp roll, sharper than, say, the Endorphin Pro 3, and sharper still than the Endorphin Speed 3, if we're talking about the rest of the Endorphin line that use a PIBA foam. The plate that's in there is a slotted plate, so it's not exactly solid. It has slits between where I would imagine the metatarsal gaps would be. Whether that's where they are or not, it certainly allows a little bit of flex, but it feels super stable. And it's got that, you know, flared heel counter too. I don't really strike heel through toe, but in this shoe I was doing a lot of midfoot striking and rolling off the front, and it just felt like I was being launched at marathon pace, and faster, as it turns out. Down to the outsole, looks actually very similar to the Metaspeed shoes outsole, superficially. I don't know that it has as much grip as the Metaspeed Edge Plus and Sky Plus do.
I did run over some wet asphalt on this, and there was a little bit of slippage. I mean, you can't hope for everything, but the grip is decent. On dry road is perfect. I would say the grip is still good. The outsole is going to have a little more durability than the midsole. If you look at, again, me personally, my high wear area is right here on the lateral forefoot to midfoot area, distal midfoot. And if you look at some of that foam is beveling away, and that happens commonly for me. You know, here's a pair of Vaporfly ones at about 150 miles, and that's really beveled away. So this is after about 30 miles. But I think this is mostly cosmetic, and the way the foam is wearing away, if you look really closely, it's a very even wear. I don't think any of it is like chipping off or getting shaved away like you would in a Vaporfly. So how does it feel? How does it run? Well, I've done a lot of time at marathon pace, and then some of those runs actually ended up scooching into almost more of a tempo pace, certainly faster than half marathon pace for parts of it. And it just felt like it kept on giving and giving and giving. I think this shoe is going to have a large wheelhouse. I think for me, marathon pace, which would be in the mid 620s, at least that's my goal, is still well within that wheelhouse, but almost at the slower end of that wheelhouse. Like, I wouldn't run a fast 50K in this shoe where I would be doing high 6s, low 7s. It would almost feel like this shoe wants to go too fast for that. And I mean, it's not going to feel good for your warm-up or for any easy days. It's fast days only. But from the marathon, I would say probably to 5K, it's going to keep on giving back. I would certainly reach for it for a half marathon, for a 10K. And I think this is going to be the marathon shoe over this shoe in Chicago, which is the one I chose when I did the shoe off. And I'll talk about, even just holding these in hand, I can tell that this one's far lighter. Feels like it's an ounce lighter than this one. Maybe a half an ounce. I don't have a scale handy. But, so that's this shoe in isolation. Now, to compare it to everything else I have, I've already brought out some of the other Saucony Endorphin line. So the Endorphin Pro 3, which we know is a great racing shoe, great all-arounder, and can handle even the slower paces. I would say this is as much separated from the Endorphin Pro 3 as the Endorphin Pro 3 is from the Endorphin Speed 3. So if this is your trainer, it's meant to be a fast day trainer. Most people use it as a daily trainer. And this is your race shoe, which some people use as, you know, a fast trainer or a super trainer. This one's race day only. And it's going to give all of that speed to you. So let's compare it to some of the other A race shoes. I've already mentioned the Hoka Rocket X2, which up until a very short time ago was my choice for my race for the Chicago Marathon. And it's still a fantastic shoe. You can't take away from this shoe. I chose this out of 5 super shoes. I think all of those 5 super shoes, in retrospect, were kind of competing for second place to this, if I'm going to be honest. So if you went out and bought this just because of that video, I'm sorry, now you got to go out and buy this. I'm just kidding. Hopefully you're not blaming me for any bank transactions. Anyway, the Hoka Rocket X2 definitely has that more responsive feedback that's reminiscent of this, but this is kind of like, I would say, halfway between the Endorphin Pro 3, which is like a giving soft response back, and the Endorphin Elite, which is just driving you. You know, driving is the word for this. It's like, I can cruise in this, but it wants to drive. It's like I almost had to really consciously slow down today to keep it at marathon pace, which I guess that can be a drawback too. But, you know, if I'm going to go for all at Chicago, it's probably going to be in this. So this may be more versatile as far as training and racing, but this one's probably going to be able to handle all of the race distances, only race distances. A lot of people would compare the Endorphin Elite to the Vaporfly 3 or the Alphafly 3. I didn't even put the Alphafly on this table because with the Alphafly, if you've watched my videos, I'm not a fan of it. Now it's the Alphafly 2, that I have, which I understand the Alpha Fly 1 was better, and I didn't get on that bandwagon in time. But the Alpha Fly 2, there was just too much underfoot. Not just weight, but too many things going on. The AirPods didn't sit well with me, and the whole decoupled heel. Maybe the Alpha Fly 3, when it comes out in the winter, will be more my speed, but I don't see myself getting it. Anyway, comparing these two, I think the Vaporfly 3 might be a hair lighter, and it certainly has a responsive midsole. It certainly is like the Endorphin Elite in that it has a large wheelhouse. It can do all of the races. But I almost think that, you know, this is now the Mario in Mario Kart now, whereas this is like Yoshi. I always liked Yoshi better, that's why. This almost seems like, yeah, it's great, but this is special, okay? The feeling I got when I ran in this was like when I first strapped on a pair of Vaporflies. And I'm not talking about this Vaporfly. I'm not even talking about this Vaporfly. I'm talking about this Vaporfly, the Vaporfly 4%, which almost looks minimal compared to some of these other shoes now. But when I think about the memories of first strapping this on and realizing how much speed, how much bounce it has, just that, you know, giggling and, you know, feeling like a schoolboy running down a hill, having this on for that first run, that's the feeling I get in this after having run in all of these other amazing super shoes. So it really gives me that special feeling. I think this shoe can handle the marathon just as well as this shoe, or this shoe, if not better, but it could also handle the shorter distances just as well as this shoe, the Asics Metaspeed Edge Plus. The drawback is, you know, it's not going to do any easy paces, but why would you wear this shoe for easy paces? This shoe's going to get locked away until race day, I'm convinced, and I don't need to keep testing it. So I've got plenty of other super shoes on the table here that I can continue doing marathon pace miles up until then. This one is going to be the guy. And I mean, what else do I have to say about it than that? So thank you for listening to my shoe talk. I've totally been simping for this Endorphin Elite. But yeah, worth it. Don't forget to run your LSD, which is long, slow distance. It's also like, subscribe, or share, and ding the bell for notifications. Thanks, guys. Get this shoe.